Morning everyone, welcome to another session of uh, engineering mechanics. So far we have completed components of forces and moments, couple, all those things, and yesterday we got one more new syllabus regarding second year that we'll be having resultant of system of forces. Along with that we will be having equilibrium of system of forces in one unit. So in the previous class, as I have told you, we have completed first unit, but the second unit is also included in first unit. Okay. So now we will be starting equilibrium of system of forces. So the next chapter we can say it as equilibrium of system of forces. Now what do you mean by equilibrium? Equilibrium is nothing but all the forces are equal. Okay. Suppose for example we are staying in this building. So this building has columns, this building has beams, and even it has footings also, isn't it? And even we have slab along with that. So whether the building is moving, it is not moving, isn't it? The building is in stable condition, even though the forces are there, right? Beam, there are many forces acting on beam, there are many forces acting on column through beam, and there are so many forces acting on footing through beam, column and footing, isn't it? So, but even though the forces are acting, at the same time what is happening? The entire structure is not moving, it is in stable position. So the meaning of equilibrium is, this is the best example that even though the forces are there, but it is not moving. That is said to be equilibrium of system of forces. We are sitting on bench, isn't it? I am standing on this floor. So whether I am going down? No. Whatever the forces I am applying on the ground, the same amount of forces are acting from the ground, isn't it? There is equal and opposite reaction for every force, isn't it? You are sitting on a bench, you are applying force on the bench, isn't it? You are applying suppose for example 50 kg or 60 kg, 70 kgs of force you are applying on the bench, but whether the bench or you or the person who is sitting on the bench is moving down? No. Why? Because there is an equal and opposite reaction. Because of that, the entire bench and the person who is sitting on the bench is completely in equilibrium. Okay. So equilibrium is nothing but equilibrium, sum of all forces in a system is equal to 0. Now what do you mean by this one? See here, how many forces will be having? We'll be having vertical forces, we'll be having horizontal forces, even we'll be having moments also, isn't it? So see here, for 2D structures, what do you mean by 2D? Two dimensional, okay, in which we will be having only x and y. Okay, so for that case, sigma x is equal to 0. What do you mean by sigma x? Sum of all horizontal forces is equal to 0. Then sigma y is equal to 0. What do you mean by sigma y? Sum of all vertical forces is equal to 0. Along with that, sigma m is equal to 0. What do you mean by sigma m? M is moment. Sum of all moments will also be equal to 0. We have a beam here. Okay. On that particular beam, there is horizontal forces acting. There are vertical forces are also acting. Because of these vertical and horizontal forces, there will be moments also developed on the beam. But again, the beam is not moving. The beam is not coming down, isn't it? Column is at original position, beam is also in its same position. So then this is said to be your equilibrium of system of forces, where all the forces, sum of all forces is equal to 0. Okay. Similarly, we have 3D structures. What do you mean by 3D structures? 3 dimensions. 3 dimensions nothing but sigma x is equal to 0, sigma y is equal to 0, sigma z is equal to 0. Then finally, we'll be having moment is equal to 0. Alright, able to understand what do you mean by equilibrium, right? All horizontal forces. Suppose for example, we have a beam like this. We have one vertical force acting like this, one vertical force acting like this. This is about your columns, okay? These are your pillars, okay? Now we will be having loading. Multiple loads will be acting on the beam. This is my beam, okay? This one, this horizontal member is beam. So what happens if the structure is not moving? Then in this particular structure, what will happen? Suppose for example, I have horizontal forces also acting from here. So then sigma x is equal to 0. That means horizontal forces is equal to 0. Then sigma y is equal to 0. And along with that, sigma m is equal to 0. We are not making these forces as 0. Sum of all forces is equal to 0. Okay. There is some force. There is some force here also. There is some force acting from the bottom also, from the pillar. But that force has some value, but sum of all forces is equal to 0. Okay. Make sure you remember you are not making all the forces is equal to 0, but sum of all forces is equal to 0. This is nothing but your equilibrium. Alright. So after you understood this one, right? Now we'll move to the next thing, that is we have, yeah, you can copy down this one, equilibrium. Okay, just copy down this one. Alright. Now another important topic in equilibrium of system of forces is Lamis theorem or Lamis equation. I'll write here Lamis equation. Now suppose for example, we have come across many problems based on coplanar concurrent forces. Suppose for example, this is my xy axis, okay? I have forces here which is going in first quadrant, okay? Then we have one more force which is going in second quadrant, okay? And we have one more force which is going in downward direction, any direction, doesn't matter. But provided all the forces should be concurrent and not more than 3, This Lamis equation is based on only 3 forces, and all the 3 forces should be concurrent. They should meet at one point, and it is given as, suppose for example, this is P, Q, and this one as S. Let us take S. Don't take R. Why? Because R is completely reserved for resultant. So for example, the angle between these two forces, is alpha, and angle between these two forces is beta, and the angle between these two forces is, let us take theta, okay, or gamma. Alpha, beta, and what is that? Gamma. Okay, this is alpha, beta, and gamma. And Lamis theorem states that it is the ratio of P by this force, P by sine alpha is equal to Q by, see, the corresponding force is equal to sine of angle between other two forces. The force P is equal to sine of angle between other two forces. So see here, P by sine alpha is equal to Q by sine beta. Sine beta is equal to S by sine gamma. Okay. So Lamis theorem states that, I will write here, it states that the corresponding force is equal to sine of angle between other two forces for a system of three coplanar concurrent forces only. Okay, so what do you mean by this one? It states that the corresponding force is equal to sine of angle between other two forces. Okay, this force P is given by sine of angle between other two forces. Okay, and what is the next point? Two forces for a system of three coplanar concurrent forces. This formula or this equation is valid only for three forces which are coplanar and must be concurrent. What do you mean by concurrent? They should meet at one point. That is nothing but your concurrent forces. Able to follow? Right. So instead, whenever you see these type of forces, these three forces, then we can apply Lamis theorem instead of going for components of forces. Suppose for example, we need to calculate any of these forces or resultant, whatever it may be. So during that time, what we used to do? We used to take the components of forces, isn't it? We used to take sigma x, that is px, py, qx, qy, all those things. So instead of taking those components, we can directly apply this formula to calculate the unknown forces. Okay. So we'll take a few problems on this one. You just copy down. So now, after completion of this Lamis equation, what we will do? We'll study what is free body diagram. So what do you understand by free body diagram? I'll write here free body diagram. So in the previous classes also we have taken up few problems in which a body is resting on the ground, right? There is one force acting horizontally like this and the weight of the body is acting like this, isn't it? Right? And because of this force we will be having a reaction from the bottom, isn't it? So once you solve the problem, you need to create a free body diagram. Okay, you need to take down the forces, whatever the forces acting on the body, you have to extract all the forces and take into your xy coordinates, isn't it? We have done this one, right, many times. So what we will do here, whenever you see these type of forces, we used to create a free body diagram. So how to create free body diagram? The very first thing, in the problem itself they will give you this is x and this is y axis, x and y axis. Yes. So what we will do, we will try to draw the x and y axis. This is my x and y axis. This is x and y axis, right? Now what we will do, we will try to extract the forces from the figure. So see here, we will take up this force, how to check in which quadrant the force is acting? Wherever the force is starting, you try to mark your xy coordinate there. Now you see it is going in positive x direction, isn't it? The force is going in positive x direction. So this is your force which is going in positive x direction. What is another force we have? See here, this is going in positive y direction. This is one force. Let us name this as F1, F2 and F3, okay? So this is your F1 and this is F2. Now see here, this force is going in which direction? Downward direction. So downward direction is nothing but this is your F3, okay? Now this is your free body diagram. What is this diagram now? This is the free body diagram of this figure, okay? So always in our problems now itself, from now upcoming problems, they will be giving us this type of figures. So we have to extract the forces from the figure and we have to carefully draw the free body diagram. If you draw the free body diagram carefully, then the entire calculation will become clear, because the calculation part is very small in our problems. The only thing which we have to extract is the forces from the given figure, okay? Now let us take one more example. Let us take one more example of a free body diagram. Suppose for example, I have a wall like this. Okay. I have a wall like this, okay, and a ball is suspended like this, a ball. Okay, this is ball and it is suspended with the help of a wire or cable, and the weight of this is 150 newtons, or let us take W1, okay, instead of taking this W1, okay. Now see here, there is one force acting in this wire also, isn't it? Since the ball has been touched to the wall, there will be reaction. We have studied normal reaction, isn't it? In your physics, we have studied normal in intermediate. Whenever there is when you consider a wall or any material, then there will be an opposite reaction. That is, see, there is one force acting on this wall. So what will happen? There will be a normal reaction acting perpendicular to the surface of contact. See, this is the wall. The reaction will act in which direction? It will act perpendicular to the surface of contact. So this is my reaction R, or let us take normal reaction, okay. So this is one force acting in which direction? Positive x direction. Why? Because the force is acting in like this, isn't it? Now weight is going in downward direction. Since we have a cable here, so in case of wire or cable, we always take two arrows. What we do? We provide two arrows, because in your cables or wires, it is subjected to tension. What do you mean by tension? So the meaning of tension is when the forces are acting away from the body, then that force is said to be tensile force. That force is said to be tensile force. When the forces are acting towards the body, right? We have studied in solid mechanics, right? When the forces are acting towards the body, then those forces are said to be compressive forces, and the member or the material is said to be under compression. Okay, our columns are compression members, pillars are what? Compression members. Why? Because they are subjected to compressive. The footing is at the bottom and we have beams at the top, slab at the top. So because of that, what will happen? The entire column will be subjected to compression. Okay, so the forces acting on the column will be compressive forces. Similarly, in case of this wire and cable, the forces which are acting away from the body is said to be tensile forces. Okay, so there will be tensile forces in the cable. Here we will be having a normal reaction. Now how will you draw the free body diagram of this figure now? The very first thing is you draw the xy axis. Okay, this is x, xy. Okay. Now see, always remember, if you recall our previous problems also for which are related to resultant of system of forces, always the weight of the body will act in downward direction. Even though the body is kept on an inclined plane like this, the weight will act in downward direction. Okay. So the same thing here, the weight is going in downward direction. This is W1. Okay. What about this normal reaction? Normal reaction is going in positive x direction. So positive x direction. This is N. Then we have, suppose let us take this as T. Okay, tension. Yes? N is normal reaction. Normal reaction. We say normal. Okay. And we don't know what is the angle theta or whatever it may be. It will be given to us in the question itself. So this is your T. So we have extracted the three forces, these three forces, 1, 2 and 3 forces from this figure to the free body diagram. Now you might be thinking, sir, how the forces are, they are not concurrent, they are not meeting at one point. They are meeting. We have studied line of action of forces, isn't it? We have studied line of action of forces. So this force will meet at one point, this force will surely meet at one point. So line of action of force. Line of action of force will meet at one point. So that is why we can extract those values and we can fix it here. Okay. This is your free body diagram of this figure. Okay. Now we'll take a few problems related to free body diagram and which are related to Lamis equation. Okay. You can copy down this one. Problem. It's very interesting problems. You can enjoy these problems. You know, Lamis equation is very, very interesting and very easy also. So write down the question. An electric bulb has been fixed with the help of two wires as shown in figure. Find the tension in two wires. Find the tension in two wires. So the figure is given like this. This angle is given as 30 degrees and this angle is given as 40 degrees. So the figure is given in the question, okay, and the weight of the bulb is how much? 50 newtons. Okay, this is your bulb. Okay, just assume it. It is suspended with the help of two wires, right? Now, as I told you, whenever you come across wires, cables, okay, we have to provide two arrows. Okay, so you have seen lift, isn't it? You have seen lift. How the lift is moving with the help of cables only. The high tension wires, those are what? High tension cables. You have seen bridges also, isn't it? They connect those bridges with the help of cables, isn't it? So the cables are actually fixed with each other with the help of cables. Those are high tension cables. Even we have seen the bridge in Durgam Cheru, that what is that? Pond. The entire cable is suspended with cables. Tendons. Tendons is nothing but cables only. Okay. Group of cables is tendons. Okay. So we have that in our syllabus also. That is suspension bridges and suspension cables. We'll be studying in next semester. So this is subjected to tension. The entire cable will be subjected to tension. So what I will do here? I will put 2 arrows. That means that the forces are acting away from the body. Here also it is away from the body. Here also it is acting away from the body. And here also 2 arrows. We'll name this as T1, this as T2. Any problem in mentioning T1 and T2? It will be easy for us, isn't it? So we'll draw the free body diagram of that figure first. So let us start the solution. So how will you draw the free body diagram? First you draw the x and y axis. X and y axis I have written. Okay. Now see here, we'll take up this force which is going in downward direction. What is that? 50 newtons. How much? 50 newtons. So this 50 newton is going in downward direction. This is 50 newtons. Okay. Now there is one force acting. This is T2, isn't it? T2 is going in which quadrant? First quadrant. First quadrant. Okay. So T2 is going in first quadrant. This is T2. What is the angle made by T2? 30 degrees, isn't it? 30 degrees it is making with which axis? Y axis. This is 30 degrees. Okay. What about T1? T1 is going in second quadrant. T1 is going in second quadrant. This is T1. Okay. And what is the inclination of T1? This is 40 degrees. Right. So now can you tell me what is this angle? We got the angle between these two forces, isn't it? We have to apply. Can we apply a Lami's equation here? Yes. Why? Because we have 3 forces and all 3 forces are concurrent. They are meeting at one point. So in case of Lami's equation, we need to calculate the angle between all the forces. We know this force, this angle. What is the total angle between T1 and T2? This angle is 70 degrees. Okay. What about this angle? Can you tell me what is the angle between these two forces? See here, this total angle is 90 degrees. 90 degrees. This total is 90. So 90 minus 40 is how much? 50. This is 50. What about this angle? 90. So 90 plus 50 is how much? 140. So this is 90. Able to follow? Otherwise, this is total 180. 180 minus 40 will be, how much? 40 will be how much? 140. So we got 140 degrees. Now, what about this angle? Can you tell me this angle? Total angle is 180. 180 minus 30 is how much? 150 degrees. 150 degrees. Now we got the angles between all the forces, right? So can I apply Lami's equation here? So T1 by sine of angle between other two forces, that is sine 150, sine 150 degrees. Then what about T2? T2 by sine 140, sine 140 is equal to 50 by sine 70. 50 by sine 70 degrees. Now what we will do, we'll equate this equation and we'll equate again this equation. That means T1 by sine 150 is equal to 50 by sine 70. So that implies T1 is equal to 50 into sine 150 divided by sine 70. How much? T1. Similarly, T2 by sine 140 is equal to 50 by sine 70. So T2 is equal to 50 into sine 140 divided by sine 70. This one 26.60 newtons. What about this one, T2? 50 into sine 140 divided by sine 70. 34.20 newtons. Okay. So the calculation part is very simple. Taking the values from that figure to the free body diagram is very, very important. Once you understand this concept, it will be easy for all of us to do this calculation. This calculation is very easy. Even the 10th class student will calculate all these values, isn't it? But the extraction of the forces from the given figure to the free body diagram is very, very important. Carefully you have to take down, and calculation part will be, however, it will be easy for us. Okay, copy down.